Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the Gates County Board of Commissioners regular scheduled meeting. I'm Emily Truman. I serve as the 2026 Board Chair. I'm joined tonight by Vice Chair Nathan Berryman, Commissioner Jonathan Craddock, Commissioner Dave Forsyth, County Manager Scott Sauer, who will also be acting as clerk to the board this evening, and County Attorney Thomas Wood. For our opening invocation and pledge, I'm going to ask Commissioner Craddock if he will lead us.
Let us pray. Father God, first of all, we come to you tonight to give you thanks. Thank you for this day that you have made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. Father God, we ask you to settle down with us tonight to conduct county business. Lord, help us make the correct decisions for the county and our constituents. Father God, we ask these things in your name, the name above all names, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Moving into the agenda, do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented?
Madam Chair, there's a handful of items I would like to change on the agenda for tonight, and I'd like to make a motion to move them to the consent agenda for expediency with our meeting tonight. We had several things that we need to cover. So
Okay.
the first one is item 12A, the tax advertisement. We've already talked about this before in the past. I would ask that we move that to the consent agenda. The second one would be the town hall that we have coming up next week. The Gates County Public Schools has an application for requests for use of their facility that we have to vote on. So I ask that that be moved as well. And the third one is the ABC board acceptance of Mr. Kittrell's resignation as chair, and then also the appointment of Joseph Casper as chair, as recommended in his letter that he submitted, and will be made part of the public comment as well.
Okay.
So if we can go ahead and make a motion, if I can make a motion for those three items that we just mentioned
To be moved.
to be moved to the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, were you going to add?
I'm going to take care of that in a minute too. I figured I need to do that in two sections.
Okay.
So
we have a motion to move 12A regarding the tax advertisements, the town hall facility use form, and the ABC board chair appointment to the consent agenda, or add them to the consent agenda.
yes.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Any discussion?
I don't see, is the ABC board one actually listed on here?
No, it is not up
It
there.
actually
This
came in during the work
came forward
session. I
earlier.
apologize.
Got it,
Yep.
okay, all right, that's all, okay.
All right. So all in favor? That is unanimous.
And Madam Chair, I have a second one, well, actually two more. These came out of our last session that we just had this afternoon with the Utilities Department, and general discussion we had therefore within. The first one is a motion to approve the county manager's recommendation for the allocation request of the SL 2023-134 funds in the amount of $284,912 presently budgeted in the Merchants Mill Pond State Park Campground Force Main project to a new project, which will be the Gates County Well Number 2A replacement and rehabilitation project for submittal to North Carolina DEQ, and including approval of Green Engineering's contract 26-014 in the amount of $80,365 for the well replacement design, permitting, testing, and all relative services through final project closeout and approval by North Carolina DEQ Public Water Supply Division. The second part of that motion also came from our meeting earlier today. Make a motion to permanently defer the relocation of the GITS facility, previously planned to be moved to the Gates County Annex on the Medical Center Road. and direct the county manager to coordinate communication with the North Carolina Department of Transportation regarding this decision, and to relocate project funds previously committed for auxiliary power generator and parking area fencing to sustaining and improving the operations of the current GITS location on Main Street in Gatesville, North Carolina.
Okay, so we have two motions. Do we have a second?
Well, you gotta you adding those two to the agenda?
To the consent agenda,
Adding that
yeah.
to this consent agenda.
Okay. So a motion to add those two items to the consent agenda based on the work session from earlier today.
I'll second. That's your motion. I'll
Yes.
second.
That's his
I'll
second, yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so we have a second. Any discussion?
No, I think that's great. Honestly, those are
Yeah.
two really good things. Sorry, I missed the work session. That's
Yeah.
great.
All right, well, all in favor? And we are unanimous on that. Do we have any other additions or deletions? We'll say possibly, I do see that one of our presenters is not here, but I don't want to remove her in case she gets here prior to her slot. But we may have one of the presenters not able to attend tonight. All right. Well, with that, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
So seconded?
And all in favor? Okay, that is unanimous. Perfect. All right, so now that we will go down, are there any other amendments or clarifications to the consent agenda? And if not, can we get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
So seconded?
All right, all in favor? All right, moving along. So we we just messed up there because we did need to move two things up on the agenda.
Nope. That's all right.
Let's see. Make a note here. We have two items that were not placed on the agenda where we needed them. So is it appropriate to go back and make another amendment after it's been approved? Or acting clerk? Okay. So I actually do need to see if we can make a motion to move the introduction of new hires in the sheriff's office update up on the agenda to prior to the public comments.
So moved.
So seconded?
All right, and all in favor? Okay, there we go. And now if we can get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
So seconded?
All right, and all in favor? All right. So now we will move along to the next item, which would be the introduction of new hires with Mr. Warren Perry. Okay. So many moving parts.
My compliments to the board. Good evening, Mr. Sauer, Commissioners, Attorney Thomas Wood. I'm here to introduce to you tonight Jocelyn Powell. Jocelyn comes to us from Todd's Pharmacy, where she worked approximately 10 and a half years. Many of you may have seen her. She currently works in building and grounds. Crystal Phillips is here to acknowledge that. She started with us in November of this past year, and we finally got a chance to introduce her. So before you welcome her, she may want to say a few words.
Thank
Jocelyn?
you for giving me the opportunity to work for the county.
Yeah.
Glad to have
Happy
you.
to have you on board.
Yes, it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And her son's an awesome soccer player on the high school team.
All right, so we will move along to Sheriff's Office updates, if Sheriff Campbell has anything.
We're all good.
All good.
We've had a couple of really tough calls in the last couple of weeks. And when I say tough, I mean really, really tough. But my guys were on a great day and everything worked out. And nobody got hurt. Everybody went on safe. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we will move into public comments. If we have anyone signed up for the agenda comments at the beginning? No? Okay. Moving right along here. We'll move into our special presentations, the first of which we have from Malden and Jenkins LLC. I'm going to ask Ms. Bagasala to come up, and I will turn that over to County Manager if he had anything to preface, and if not, okay. Did you have anything? prior to Mr. Sauer? No, okay.
All right, good evening. My name is Leanne Bagasawa. I'm a partner at Maldon's and Jenkins, and tonight I'm going to present to you your fiscal year 2025 audit results. I believe you are all sent a PDF of the financial statements. Just recently, we tried to get them printed and shipped today, but they did not make it today. So hopefully they will come in and tomorrow, but I have all good news. So. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go through a couple things. I'm going to go through who the engagement team is. I'm going to go through each of your audit opinions. I'm going to go through the local government commission performance indicators of concern, as well as go through some of your compliance reports. There is a couple slides on required communication that we have to tell you every single year. And there's a couple GASBs that you need to know about that are coming up for the fiscal year. But at any time you have questions, please feel free to stop me. So this slide right here depicts who Maldon's and Jenkins are. We have been your auditor for several years, and I apologize, this slide hasn't been updated since our merger that we had December 1st. We now have 19 offices in 8 states. We are significantly larger than we have ever been. We are now considered a national firm, and we have over almost 800 employees now, but a significant amount of our business, still about a third of it, is local government clients. And last year we served over 725 government clients. I served as your engagement partner this year, so I was ultimately the one responsible for signing your audit opinions. We do have what's called a second partner review that was done independently of my review, and then you had several managers, seniors, and staff that worked on the audit as well. So the first audit opinion that you have in the front of your financial statements goes over our responsibility for reviewing the financial statements that you have. We consider the internal control structure of the county for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the county's basic financial statements, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the county's internal control. We did perform our audit in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards as well as government auditing standards. And our objective with that opinion is to provide reasonable assurance, but not absolute assurance, that the basic financial statements are free of material misstatement. Within your financial statements, you do present information related to the ABC board, which we do let you know that we are not the auditors of. So we rely on that audit report from their auditors. And the basic financial statements are ultimately the responsibility of county management. For the opinion over the financial statements, you receive an unmodified or a clean audit opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can provide. But our responsibility does not extend beyond that report. You also receive 3 other opinions within your financial statements. They're in the back of your financial statements. The first is a compliance opinion over government auditing standards, and that package basically lets you know that we do test the county's internal controls and compliance with laws and regulation. The report isn't intended to provide an opinion on the internal controls, nor is it intended to provide a legal determination on compliance. However, we did perform our report and procedures in accordance with government auditing standards. You did receive an unmodified or a clean audit opinion, but there was one material weakness was noted, and we'll go over that in the next slide. We also performed what's called a single audit over your federal and state grants. This year we audited Medicaid program, which has a federal component as well as a state component. We also audited your ARPA funds, which are federal funds, and we audited your need-based lottery funding, which is for your high school, which is a state funding. We issued 2 opinions related to that testing over grants. One was in accordance with the uniform grant guidance over your federal programs, and you received an unmodified opinion for that with no findings. And then we also issued a report over your county state programs in accordance with the state North Carolina Single Audit Implementation Act, and you received an unmodified or a clean audit opinion related to the grants that we tested. In terms of the finding that we did have, when we are doing an audit, there are 3 levels of finding. There's a control deficiency, a significant deficiency, and a material weakness. Material weakness is something that we deem to be material in nature. It's a larger amount, and we think it's important for the user of the financial statements to know about it. This year, when doing your inventory count, which I actually attended, there was a piece of inventory that wasn't considered in the count, and it had just been received, but it was $28,000. And so we made sure that your inventory balances balances did get updated, and ensured that, going forward, your inventory policies ensure that all new things coming in and things going out are considered in the count. So that's already been corrected. As part of completing your audit, we have to submit what's called a data input form to the local government commission, and based on the inputs of that form, it spits out what we call LGC performance indicators. And I will tell you that these are not my favorite thing. I have no input to these, but I can provide you a little bit of clarity on these. As part of the audit presentation, you are responsible as a board to respond to these local performance indicator concerns, just the ones that say fail, and give some clarity to LGC on those. The first one that's on this slide is actually number 2 on here. It's kind of hard to clip it without having the first one up there. But it indicates that in the water and sewer fund, the operating income exceeded depreciation, including debt and service payment. It's basically saying that you have a net operating loss of $909,000. That is not a true picture of what's going on in that fund, and unfortunately, I can't change the way the numbers are presented. This formula that's calculated is taking your operating revenue and your operating expenses. And yes, there is a net operating loss about $1.2 million. However, what that calculation doesn't consider is all the grant revenue that you got, which is grant revenue is considered non-operating on your financial statements. And so your expenditure number is overstated in terms of it has your grant expenditures in there, but we're not taking into consideration your grant revenue. And so it looks bad, but it really isn't. And so that's kind of how you would need to respond to that when you respond to the local government commission. This formula doesn't include the $1.1 million of grant revenue that we received.
So why is it that they are making the county show expenditures, but not having us show the revenue that's associated with those expenditures? It's not you should have an offsetting thing there. You should have an offsetting revenue for costs that you only had because you had this revenue.
Yeah, it's just the way that the standards are written. Intergovernmental revenue isn't operating revenue, it's non-operating. And that's just the way that their formula reads, and it's just one of those things that I think as more entities give them feedback, hey, you're not considering all my grant revenue, maybe they'll change the calculation to add that back in so it doesn't look as bad. And I think the more feedback they get on this, it's only been around for a couple years, this data input form, and generating, the data input form has been around for a while, but generating the performance indicator has only been around a couple years. And so as they continuously get more feedback, maybe they'll update the calculation.
Yeah, because you could theoretically make the argument that that's non-operational cost. That is grant cost.
You can, and we provided the calculation to the county manager and finance director, kind of showing where the numbers are calculated so that in the response, you can kind of generate some additional clarity for that.
Okay.
But for the LGC, though, that would allow them, though, if somebody was supplementing their enterprise fund with general funds, this is the way it would flag it for them to see it.
Yes, this is the way to flag to see, is there potential need
That's
for
part
you
of
to
the reason
raise
for it.
rates or anything like that? It's an indicator, just they want you to be aware that this is going on. If there's other circumstances that lead to that, that's fine, but they want to show you this is something you should be honed in on if this is always happening. Because there's some entities don't get as much grant funding as you get.
Okay.
The next indicator is that you did receive a material weakness this year. So your management has already responded to that material weakness. They've already said it's been corrected, and they've indicated the policies and procedures they're going to put in place to make sure that there isn't another one like that for the inventory issue that we were talking about.
Is there a dollar amount related to that? I mean, it's one big piece of equipment.
It's $28 million.
I know that's what I'm saying, but
It's $28,000.
But what I'm saying is there a minimum, like if it had been a $3,000 piece, would it still be a material weakness?
Absolutely. So every major fund that we have in our audit has a different materiality. It just so happens that the water fund materiality is less than $28,000.
Okay.
So if you had gotten below my materiality threshold, it may have just been a significant deficiency versus a material weakness.
Okay.
It's just the dollar amount. It was a big piece of equipment.
That's easy to do, too, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's really easy.
Okay, a couple other communications that we have to give you. Within your financial statements, there are a lot of significant accounting policies that are disclosed in one of the first notes of the financial statements. Management is responsible for determining the policies that they want to implement and use. In the current year, we did implement 2 GASB statements. One is called 101. So one is actually 101, it's not called accounting changes, an error. That's an error on this part. It's called compensated absences, which was very fun standard that we had to implement this year and very difficult for entities to calculate, but we did that successfully. And we also implemented GASB Statement 102, certain risk disclosures. The policies that we are aware that the county used, they are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, and we have no issues with the policies that the county has. Also, within your financial statements are a lot of estimates that management makes. Some of those are based on historic information and past events, and some of those are actuarially determined. We do review management's estimates as part of our audit, and we had no issues with the estimates that management had. From a relationship standpoint, we did receive full cooperation from management and the staff. There were no disagreements during the audit related to accounting or financial matters. As part of the audit, we do require the finance director and the county manager to sign what's called a management representation letter that basically says all the information they gave us was complete and accurate to help us do our job. If at any time we became aware that the county used other consultants, like an outside accounting firm, we would need to know, and we're not aware of that. And there was no significant issues discussed with management that we need to bring to your attention. Okay, the next slide tells you that there were no past audit adjustments. That means if there was any adjustments that we had during the audit, they were made by management and reflected in your financial statements. We do help post some journal entries as part of our financial statement preparation process, but there was nothing that I need to disclose to you that we did not post. From a disclosure perspective, you do have lots of pages of disclosures within your financial statements. Our job is to make sure that those disclosures are neutral, consistent, and provide clarity to the financial information. The third disclosure here basically lets you know that the basic financial statements that we provided to you as a package, and we ask you not to add to or remove from the financial statements when you present it online or you give it to other people. And then the last bullet here lets you know that we are independent of the county and their financial reporting process. We did issue what's called a management letter, which is just suggestions. These are not findings, they're not significant deficiencies, material weaknesses, or anything like that. These are just recommendations, and some of these are some of the same recommendations that we've had in the past. There was a small gap between when we issued last year and we started again, so sometimes these just need to be worked through the process and updated. We do note that, the county has a very small finance department, and just reviewing some of the internal control questionnaires, just want to make sure that there is always going to be segregation of duties, and that's very important. We're not saying that we found any issues at all, but just be mindful of that with a small organization. The next item that we have is a couple control process improvements that we did provide last year as well, but this is related to your proprietary funds. There's a couple of things that the county has indicated they're working on fixing and developing good processes and control over a couple of things related to how bills are recorded and delinquent receivables, and a couple other things that just need to be documented. The third item that we have here is that there were some material adjustments that we had to make to a couple of funds, like the general fund, opioid settlement fund, landfill, and water, to make sure that the beginning balances of the fund agree to the issued statements from the prior year. These were small, but we just want to make sure that we are reiterating that at no time during the year should management hit fund balance. And sometimes it's not a matter of them hitting fund balance. Maybe a small entry from the audit was not recorded or something like that. So we did that just to clean it up a little bit, and we'll make sure that management gets all the journal entries that we posted as part of the audit, so we don't have that one again next year. And the fourth item here is the audit this year was originally due December 31st, 2025, but with the federal government shutdown, that deadline got extended to February 12th, which we did make, and we did complete the submission to the local government commission. We're waiting on that to come back, but we did note that after the closeout process, or when we began the audit, there was additional 15 entries that needed to be posted to the journal ledger to get it to what it is today. We just asked that, continuing to make sure we meet that deadline, that we try to post as many entries as we can as before we start the audit. And those are all the recommendations that we have. There are 2 pronouncements that are coming up for this coming up fiscal years, and they are nowhere as invasive as the one that we just did related to compensated absence. A lot of it, especially GASB 103, relates to some of the presentation of things on the financial statement. So we'll work with management and make sure that those are properly implemented. We are engaged to write the financial statement, so we'll make sure that those are all properly addressed. And then the last slide we have here, as part of additional service, we do provide CPE. We provide between 24 and 32 hours a year of training on a quarterly basis that is free to your employees if they need continuing education. That's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Is the training web-based or in person?
It's all web-based, because since we're a national firm, it's really hard to do them in person. I think everyone liked in person too after COVID, so, remote after COVID, so.
I think the only real kind of, it's not really a question, it's more of a point, is the way that we're recording our leases and everything for the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having to record all 5 years of expenses the first year.
You are having, so if you have a material lease that is a long-term, so it's greater than 1 year, like an enterprise vehicle, you're having to record it as an asset.
Yes.
With a related liability. So it kind of usually nets each other.
Yeah.
On your balance sheet. You're not recording the total expense. You record the expense as you pay it,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to record an asset and the related liability under GASB 87.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with that is that, when we set the original budgets up and everything, these vehicles aren't, majority of them are our sheriff's vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also vehicles that are in other, categories within the budget and everything. And does it all need to go to one, or is it just done for convenience?
You
or?
are allowed to keep it within the individual division that is paying it for purposes of simplicity. However, at the end of the year, it all has to be classed to a debt payment because it's technically a debt payment. So you don't ever want to get a budget violation when we write your financial statements because the lease payment is considered a debt payment. It's a different category than within the sheriff department, operating line. And so sometimes generally what a lot of entities do is at the last board meeting of the year, they reclass it down to a debt payment or something like that. It's just one of those things you have to keep up with.
Yeah, and the way it's laid out and it's shown, it looks like that one line item went way over budget, and that's not the case. It really didn't go way over budget. It's just that we're having to record the entire leasing agreement on 1 year, and then over time that gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you can. But then in a whole nother category, when you go further into the way that the budget's laid out and everything, as you go down through it, there's a other where you can see where
there's a savings somewhere else because it's
where
not
you see
moved.
the offsetting is at, but it's way down into it, and unless you really got into the weeds, you would never know that,
you wouldn't.
that
And
it's
so,
an offset.
Yeah, so the local government commission has put out different bulletins of the best way to do that, and they're kind of okay with you keeping it in department.
Yeah.
So for tracking purposes, because it is their vehicles or something like that. But at the end of the day, just remembering it's technically a debt principal payment.
Yeah. Would we be better off just to show that as its own separate line item in your expenses, so that way it's broken out? Because it is so many other vehicles it's associated with, not just the sheriff's.
I believe it is a separate line within the departments. The principal, we can see it because we post the journal entries for
Could it be
it.
a non-departmental?
You could do it like a non-departmental, and then we could just reclass it. You have the authority to reclass it too.
Okay.
You reclass the budget for that little amount as needed. Mhm. But yeah, that's not something that we would write you up for. As long as you have it within the departments, you would be good.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else? No? Okay. Giving him a minute to look through it. No? All right. Nothing from you? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next on the agenda for our special presentations, we have Ms. Rhonda Morris with Kids First, Inc. Ms. Morris will present to the board the services they provide to Gates County through the Department of Social Services.
These are the letter and invoices. Talk to
that I'll be speaking to.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I wanted to ask you a question. How many of y'all are Gates County natives, just for fun?
Gates County.
Gates County natives, just for fun? All right, we got one, two of y'all in here.
Okay.
Okay, two of y'all are natives. I feel like a native of Gates County. I've been to more Morris family reunions at Middle Swamp Baptist Church than I can count. But, and I don't know if I can stick to 5 minutes or not, because I do have 5 preachers in the family, by those Gates County preachers.
Well, there's no
And
altar
and
call.
one judge.
No altar calls tonight.
No altar calls. You know, Kids First Child Advocacy Center is the only nationally accredited child advocacy center within 200 miles. And a child advocacy center, we've been serving Gates County for 34 years. I've been serving Gates County for 26 years as a director of Kids First. We operate around a multidisciplinary team, so if we have somebody from the Sheriff's Department who's done an investigation and they've sent a referral to us, or somebody from DSS, I know you had a letter from the DSS director, they send referrals to us with their child abuse cases. We do the legally defensible forensic interviews. We provide evidence-based therapy. We provide child medical evaluations. It's just a whole slew of comprehensive services. We have, in the past, we have been, over the years, largely funded by the Victims of Crimes Act, which is a non-taxpayer bucket of funds that is perpetrators' fees and so forth, and white-collar crime fees and all of that. That fund, this year we're losing 56% of that fund. All of the counties, and Gates County has never contributed to Kids First. Every other county in the district has, and has been for years. And I'm not asking for a lot, but a good faith contribution for those. This year we served 28 children, and your savings to Gates County was $136,332 that we saved Gates County. It's actually more than that, I believe, because it saved you having to send kids to UNC or Greenville back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So it's just something that I hope you'll be able to help us with. This year we do have one cost that we have, that's the invoice that I was speaking to. One cost that we have to upgrade a piece of our medical equipment just because it no longer is going to be updated because it doesn't comply with Microsoft 11. And so we have to put $5,000 toward updating that. So we're asking you to please gift us, or not gift us, but contribute $5,000 to that. And of course, I would be asking you to make that a continuing contribution with the savings that we are affording the county every year. I think that's hopefully a reasonable ask. And do you have any questions about Kids First or about what we do? You know, this has been one of my struggles for all of my years serving abused children, is we don't want to think that this is happening here. And it's happening here.
Right.
And the perpetrators are not a lot of times who you think they are. They're who's sitting beside you in church. They may be the judge. They may be a doctor. I mean, I know a surgeon. We've had a surgeon, a pediatrician who were sexually abusing children. They came through our doors, So we don't want to look at that. You talk about puppies and kittens, and the good chemicals start flowing in your brain. You get that good chemical, the endorphins that make you feel good. When you start talking about abused children, your body literally starts pumping cortisol, which is not a friendly chemical in your brain. So we naturally want to not think about it, not look at it. So it really takes courage to stand up and say, hey, this happens, and we're going to stand up and face it and help do something about it. So I'm asking on behalf of those kids who are this big.
Okay. can I say, I'd like to advocate, obviously, y'all know I'm a big supporter. I met Ms. Morris and others, just happened to go to a fun run kind of thing in Elizabeth City, met a whole bunch of the people, workers, whatever. It's pretty awesome. And since then, you know, I have a grandchild that's autistic, nonverbal. They actually have support groups as well. I participate in phone calls now with parents and try to give tips to people. It's pretty awesome what they do, and it's kind of, it tugs at my heartstrings, but the fact that what they do, we all contacted, you know, our director, Willie Smith, about it. He advocated strongly how much they help us. I mean, I think it's, at least as a, for now, we probably should consider this in a budget year and consider things more fully, but maybe as a token to support this piece as a minimum. And maybe ask Mr. Smith to assess, you know, if we should be doing more and come to us during the budget cycle.
Yeah, and some of the counties put it in, the DSS puts it in their budget, and some of them it comes just directly from the county. I mean, it comes from the county anyway. But, you know, some of it, I send an invoice to the county, some to DSS. But because, you know, we're serving the Sheriff's Department and DSS, you know, whichever way.
Well, I think it says a lot that it's 34 years without support from the county before you've made an ask of any kind.
Yeah, I've asked every year.
And
I have asked every year.
6,000 from last year says a lot. So, is there any other comments? Did you have a?
I mean, I'd like to make a motion that we fund this request, this 5,000. That seems like a token start to show our good faith, and it seems like no big risk for us to do. And I'd make a motion that we fund that.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Do you have any other discussion? Okay. All in favor? That is unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Really, thank you for what you do too.
Yeah.
Your
Thank
people,
you.
pretty awesome group.
And we'll follow up with those conversations with Director Smith about
See what we can do to
funding
get
in
it
the
in the
future.
budget.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna ask if Miss Elizabeth Mitchell is here. I don't see her, but just to make sure. Okay, so we do not have the presenter for item C with us. So we'll move down to appointment of Emergency Medical Services Director with Chief Butts. So he is going to come to the podium and share a little bit more about what this is. What, you said what?
Jumped around to the sheriff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I believe everything's in your package. We had a Dr. Wilson, James Wilson was our medical director for the last 7 years, and he accepted a promotion in Centera that's moving him to Lee in Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. So we have to reappoint a medical director. Historically, that comes from Albemarle Hospital, and they presented some candidates who applied, and they actually allowed myself, Jerry Newell, and Jonathan Nixon from Pasquotank Perquimans to interview those applicants. That's the first time they've ever done that. And they took our recommendation for Dr. Gilman. So we just need an appointment from you all, since you're responsible for the governance of the EMS system in Gates
And it's
County.
just a formality, essentially,
Yes, ma'am.
with it. Okay. So were there any questions before we go? Because what we're looking for is a motion to approve Dr. Gilman as the medical examiner for Gates County.
So move.
So seconded.
All in favor? All right. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right. So moving along here, on the agenda, we have the Board of Elections update. That is going to just modify a little bit from Ms. Christy Gaskins to Ms. Carly Beauregard. So we're going to invite her up. Hey.
Christy is very busy with early voting, so she wrote a letter ahead of time for me to read to the board. And I want to say good evening, especially to the IT team. You guys have been an invaluable resource for our office. I just wanted to thank you for that. Yes, my name is Carly Beauregard. I'm the chairman of the Board of Elections. Blah. And this is the letter that Christy has written for you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mr. Sauer, and Mr. Godwin. I wanted to give a few updates from the election department. Voter registration deadline was February 6, 2026 at 5 p.m. Address changes are allowed if the voter moved more than 30 days before the primary election, and the primary election is February 3rd. If the voter moved less than 30 days, they will have to vote under their old address or county. This has been some confusion about that one particular part about the address. The voter may complete a voter registration form, and their address will be updated after the election. Same-day registration is available for residents who missed the February 6th deadline at our early voting site at the BOE office, and the voter must provide proof of resident document listing their current name and address. Poll worker training for early voting and election day have started. Early voting dates: Thursday, February 12th, Friday, February 13th, 8 a.m. to 7:30. Monday, February 16th through Friday, February 20th, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday, February 23rd, Friday, February 27th, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Saturday, February 28th, which is our only Saturday, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., as required by state statute. The primary election is March 3rd, 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The political parties in the primary election include Democratic, Republican, and unaffiliated. Voters must vote in the party in which they are registered in. Unaffiliated voters may choose which political party they would like to vote for, Democratic, Republican, or unaffiliated. There has been a little bit of confusion because if you go in and you say, I'm unaffiliated, there's 3 ballots you can look at to pick from. If you say, I just want straight unaffiliated, all you get is school board. You don't get to vote for the other offices because they're partisan. But we've been able to get that really straight with, there are the pictures, pick one. Sample ballots are available in the office for voter use. Voters must state their name, address, and party to which precinct officials and present an acceptable voter photo ID. Voters who are 17 are allowed to vote in the primary election as long as they will be 18 by November general election on November 3rd, 2026. We do have some candidates who will not be appearing on the primary ballot, such as Sheriff Campbell and Commissioner Roundtree, because they were declared by their party nominee of their respective parties in the primary, and their name will go straight to the general election. Absentee ballots mail-out began on January 12th, 2026. The deadline to request an absentee ballot was February 17th, 2026 at 5 p.m. The deadline for returning absentee ballots is Tuesday, March 3rd at 7:30 p.m. The statewide voter registration repair project is an effort by the State Board of Elections to collect identification numbers from registered voters who do not have a North Carolina driver's license, DMV ID number, or a social security number in the state's voter registration. These numbers are used to verify that registrants who they claim to be. Voters who do not have this information in their record may need to cast a provisional ballot and provide this information for the next time they vote. Some voters received an assistance request update, your voter registration information form in the mail. These voters are still eligible to vote. Voters receive this form because the BOE does not have a validated driver's license number or last 4 digits of the social security number in your voter record. When voters register and provide these numbers, election officials try to match them against the DMV or social security database. And we do not have a number for you that matches. Also, if you register a long time ago, these numbers may not have been required to be provided at the time. This letter does not mean your registration is incomplete. We had some calls to the office and about the confusion. They thought we were trying to get an identity scam going on them because we wanted the social security numbers, but this letter was sent from the state, and we were not even aware of it being sent out until the calls came in. This information is needed to validate your driver's license number and the last 4 digits of your social security number, so your record helps us more easily locate and update your record in the future. For like a name, address change, for example, if you move from one county to another, this ensures your voter profile follows you to the new county when you register to vote there and helps prevent duplicate registrations for the same voter. This is one of the many ways we promote election integrity. Free photo IDs. Who doesn't like free? Any registered voter who needs a photo ID can get one for free from the County Board of Elections during the early voting period, which ends February 28th. No ballot photos. We all love a selfie, but we try to refrain from taking out our cell phones and photographing in private voting spaces. North Carolina law prohibits photographing or videotaping voted ballots. So if you pick out all your guys and take a picture, you're breaking North Carolina law. Voters may use electronic devices in the voting booth to access a slate card or candidate information, provided they don't use the device to communicate with anyone or take photographs of their voted ballots. I mean, that's pretty transparent. You don't want to be calling somebody and say, hey, who am I supposed to vote for? Because once you're in that space, that's private. Peace at the polls. The state board asks that all voters respect the rights of others to participate in the election. Intimidating any voter is a crime. Voters who feel harassed or intimidated should be notified to an election official immediately. And my last note is, I'd like to say, on behalf of our Director, Christy Gaskins, Chairman Carly Beauregard, the Board of Election members, and staff, we would like to give a special thanks to our wonderful IT department, Warren Curry and Scott Pierce, for their dedicated time and assistance with the election office. We've had issues with the systems, we've had issues with the state linking up with our computers, and these guys have not said no once. They've been wonderful. And we'd also like to thank the Buildings and Grounds and Maintenance team for going above and beyond, I know she already left, to help keep our facility in operating order. And we'd really like to state that it's been a pleasant experience with the county managers and the commissioners, and I think that everything is going pretty well. And budget's looking great. So, any questions?
I think so. We apologize for not having you come up before early voting started. We will do better at the next election. I know it's chaotic right now.
I want to ask a leading question. I know the answer to, but I want the public to be able to hear. So tell us about the safeguarding of the voting machines.
Well, we do logic and accuracy testing, and we do mock elections, we do trial runs, and the entire board participated in the logic and accuracy testing.
Right.
To make sure that we had...
And then the securing of the machines.
Well, I can't really discuss what I want to say because we have a...
Yeah, you don't have to tell me where. I'm just saying...
Oh, yeah, they're in a locked room.
Right.
Yes, they are in a locked room.
Somebody mentioned recently that they're out in the open. I'm like, no, they're not. But
we would like a door between the two offices, but we've talked about that door a lot, so...
yeah, we've recently done a visit, several of the commissioners, and seen it, so we're
And we
aware
have
of
the
that.
fire marshal coming out to discuss, like, what kind of accesses we could do to be a little more secure. Oh, thank you, darling. This is a copy of the letters. I was texting while we were talking.
Okay.
And I was like, did y'all send him that?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Oh, gotcha. All right. Do we have any other questions or comments? Anything? No? Thank you, ma'am.
I didn't fill it up.
All right, so moving along, only item we have under old business, we just have Gates County Board of Education as a general conversation point. So we're going to ask if any commissioners have any comments they would like to share based on previous conversations that we've had with the Board of Elections or that we've had in regard to the Board of Elections. Anything that's happened since last meeting to now that we need to discuss. And I'll look.
Everybody's looking at me.
I'm just starting here and working down.
I'll make a comment. Yeah, I've tried to watch as many of their meetings as I can when they're televised. I will say that some of this published information seems a little disconcerting since we had a long discussion about us funding a study. We were asked for $50,000. Turns out later they were arguing that they did spend $50,000. I really don't care about that. That's what they asked for. They got results, and now it seems like, from Dave's perspective, some serious gamesmanship going on about making a decision and moving forward with it. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like there should be a discussion, as we've talked about. We did have a recent meeting, joint meeting. I think that was good, but needs to continue forward. And an awful lot of information getting pushed out there. It seems, to me, a little disingenuous.
Right. And if I may, before I move down, I mentioned, just talking about the decision coming forth, the important dates that we kind of have, and I'm going to say dates, tentative, things can change as we're so far out still, but the primary election, March 3rd, we will know who is elected for the your seat. I know that that has been a thing that the Board of Education said they're hoping to swear that person in for the your seat after that primary election. March 6th, which is the Friday following the primary election, They are planning on having a work session to bring whomever is elected for your district up to par on all of the information that they've received. And that will be a public work session at the Merchants Mill Pond at 10 a.m. So if anybody wanted to go to kind of hear what the final collection of information kind of says, March 6th, 10 a.m. at Merchants Mill Pond. And they are also going to have the East-West distribution plan supposed to be available in March. March 9th is their next regular meeting, which is the Monday following the election, following that work session. At that meeting is when they hope to make a decision on consolidation. Again, I say all of that is tentative, schedules change and just change, but those are the dates that we've been given. So we wanted to put those out there, just transparent. And before I get into that, does anybody else have?
I would only say that, we've been having some good discussions with them here lately, and I think they're trying to make the right decision in their mind as far as where they go with this. I look forward to the decision so we can move on and continue the work for the county and what we need to do for the betterment of the county. So once that decision is made by the school board, we'll take that and go from there, because I think a lot of things kind of are pivotal as far as what we're going to be doing in the future and how we can use a facility or not, and we'll see where they go from there.
So just to be clear on the timeline, you said, so the election's going to happen March 3rd, probably the results 4th. They're going to have a joint meeting to bring a person up to speed 2 days later, and then have that person participate in making a decision within a day or two after that?
So March 3rd would be the election date. They're planning on having the work session on March 6th, and at the March 9th meeting, that person would be sworn in, and they are planning to vote on the consolidation. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That is, to my understanding, is that.
That's been somebody
yeah.
short
Okay.
noticed into a real bind.
So, those were the dates that we were given.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you for sharing
sir.
that.
No problem. Do you have anything? No? Okay. The other, which I'm going to bring up under Board of Education conversation, just because it is something that we're kind of doing in conjunction with them, is the Article 46 sales tax referendum that will be on the primary ballot. If you're voted early, you've already seen it. If you're planning to vote, you will see it. It's going to be listed as 1/4% local sales and use tax. It says local sales and use tax at the rate of 1/4%, 0.25% in addition to all other state and local sales and use tax, and you just simply mark for or against. We do have a town hall with more information, more Q&A, scheduled for Tuesday night at 7 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center at the high school. So it will be this coming Tuesday night, 7 p.m., Performing Arts Center. If you have any questions, we do have some brochures, I believe, out tonight for anyone that would like to grab them. It has some information in it. We are happy to take your calls at any time. You don't have to wait until Tuesday night. Our phone numbers are all public information. Feel free to reach out to any of us if you have questions, concerns. If you just want to say, I disagree with it, I'm happy to listen to you. Again, this is not a decision that we're making. We asked to put it on the ballot so that the people can decide. And we just want to make sure that there's clarification and clarity on what it would be used for and what the actual cost will look like. So we hope to have some participation next Tuesday night. And again, if you have any questions at any point, you can reach out to any of us, and we're happy to have that conversation. Is there anything else on that? No? Okay. All right. Well, if we have, and I will look at county manager, see if he had anything for that Board of Education conversation before we move on. No? Okay. So next on the item of new business, we're going to skip down to item B. A was moved to the consent agenda. The clerk to the board is not here, but we have county manager acting in her place, so reports and updates from there. And I was going to say, and I believe it's actually going to be. We're getting there. What's that? So, Mr. Perry.
So you're doing the clerk report, not Mr. Sauer.
He's doing the clerk report, yes. Renee has prepared him in her absence.
Board members, this is from the clerk, Renee Draper. In your package, you'll see a list of the new applications and consideration of the animal services advisory board. They are Shelley Turner, McKinney, James A. Franklin Jr. of Gatesville, Gracie Perry of Ewart, Thomas Roger Wiggins of Oswego, and J.D. Reddick of Sunbury. And previously noted, the already approved board members, Kristen Black of Sunbury, Johnny Barnes of Gates, and George Earl Pretty the fourth of Gates. So Madam Chair, I'll yield back to you for your voice direction on
Yeah.
proceed.
So we first had this conversation come up a while back with forming the Animal Advisory Board. In the original conversation, we had the discussion of many of our boards and committees are difficult to fill seats on. So you don't typically have a race for seats with most of these committees. But we did have a basic discussion on how many seats we would want to have on that board. I believe that 9 was the number that I remember us saying because we wanted a broad representation from the county. Just want to make sure that we go ahead tonight and whatever we decide with these nominees, that we go ahead and officially clarify a seat number, because as the applications are coming in, we could easily find ourselves in a spot where people are asking why theirs haven't been approved.
Does that have to be done as a form of a motion?
So I would say to have a motion of a cap of so many seats on the Animal Advisory Board, and then we also, again, we have these 6 tonight, I believe, 5 tonight.
Yep,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tonight. So that would put us, if we choose to go with all 5, that will put us with 8 seats, leaving 1 vacancy if we choose to go with 9 seats, as we had discussed and opened a conversation on that.
So what's the unique function that would need so many people on a board? You have sometimes, mass gaggle, it's a Grand Confederation of the Communist Party where they have 500 people, you can't make a decision. But at the same time, 2 is not enough to really get a cross-section. So, is there something that says we should go to more?
Well, we just want an odd for 1, an odd number. So you're looking at, 5, 7, 9, somewhere in there. 9 was a number that came up in conversations. There's no set reason. It could be open for discussion.
Yeah, because at this point in time, we have 8.
We have 8, well, we have 3 approved and we have 5 applicants at this point. So we will either have to sift through the applicants here and do that if we do a smaller number, or we will have 1 vacant seat if we go with 9. There's no right answer, just.
No, I know, and it's
yeah.
good that so many people are volunteering, because
Yeah.
historically we haven't. So, and you'd hate to just turn somebody down, I get that.
And that's
Right.
kind of where we're,
Yeah, we're excited to have participation.
Yeah, really.
So yeah, so if we choose to go with the 9, then that would leave one seat available.
So you'd have 8.
We'll have 8, yeah.
Just gotta get one.
Go 7 with an alternate.
I like that idea.
Do what, I'm sorry?
7 with an alternate. Anybody steps off or doesn't show up, the alternate can fill in.
Okay, so then we need to look through and have some conversations here tonight about what we're going to do. So we need to decide the number
I'm
first.
fine with just going with the 9. Just go with the 9, let the people who participated, one more person will.
There's been a lot, in a month,
Pretty
we've had
confident.
5,
As fast as we
so.
got the 9, you're gonna get at least one more.
Okay, yeah, let's not beat this dead horse then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Make your motion there,
so,
Mr. Vice Chair.
I make a motion that we keep that we cap the board at 9 seats.
okay.
All right.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? That is unanimous. Okay, so now we have these 5 at hand. We could do them individually, or we can choose to accept them all as submitted.
I make a motion, we accept them all submitted.
All right,
Second that motion.
all right, any discussion? All in favor? All right, that is approved unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it?
All right, let me flip through here, figure out where I'm at on my packet. All right. Flip over, okay. So new business is done. I'm going to turn over to the county manager for his report.
Thank you. I'm going to stand if you don't mind. I've been sitting
Absolutely.
all
It's
day.
both loaded legs.
I think I passed a few of these out earlier. Mr. Dave, you missed that
Thank you.
one.
Yeah, saw it.
And let's make sure. Wood has a song sheet. How Since we didn't have a hard copy audit to lay before the board on the dais, I'd like to just hit a few highlights for you. And we can make this available for folks that want electronic copies or whatever would be comfortable, but I wanted to share a couple of thoughts. This first slide is the balance sheet for Gates County for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2025. And I've put an asterisk down on the bottom left in two places. The first one is the appropriated fund balance. Wait a minute, is that the, do you not have another one before this? What's your second one?
Oh, there we go, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
there you go.
all right, we can sing now. Okay, thank you.
That threw me off too. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
we on.
You're allowed to kick me if you need to. No problem. The balance sheet. I think for the folks that are business-minded, seeing the general fund balance sheet is always a useful tool. And I would remind everyone, the audit is a point in time. Numbers change leading up to it and then going forward. But this is your marker for your performance for the fiscal year. We had an unassigned fund balance of $5.9 million. I presented some preliminary numbers back in November, and I presented an unassigned fund balance of $6.2 million. And that was because we had not yet broken out the GITS fund balance. They operate as a utility. This is a first in the audit report, and this was an initiative of the auditor. But if you go back to the start of GITS, we had never broken it out. But this is a good clarifying adjustment. I want to talk about leases for buildings. Gates County is a landlord. We went through an arduous negotiation a year or so ago with the federal government for the Farm Service Agency, Soil and Water, and Rural Development. And in years past, the county got roughly $45,000 a year in rent. We now get close to $100,000 between our rent and the reimbursement for our operating cost. Just like we discussed just a little bit ago with Ms. Bagasala, the governmental accounting standards are requiring that we book the entire value of that lease, both the value of what we expect to get and what they pay. So you will see two little arrows on the left-hand column. On the asset side, you'll see the lease receivables, $819,000, and then the lease deferred inflows for future years, the $818,000. That's, to me, is significant because that's a little different than the way we're being asked to treat our fleet of leased vehicles. The second page is my favorite in any of the, yes, sir.
Real quick, and we kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier today in our breakout session that we had, but when you look at our fund balance as a county, it's really several pieces all broken down. And when you say your unassigned fund balance is $5.9 million, that's money that hasn't been assigned to any specific thing within the county itself.
No restrictions.
But when you look up a little bit higher, and including the one that you have circled there, is another $300,000 that's been assigned to GITS that really GITS isn't planning on spending that, and it's part of the fund balance.
Yes.
So really, when you add everything that's been assigned to each one of the departments within the county and all that, that's their money for them to use for utilities and all that kind of good stuff. That actually comes to a total of like 8.4 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So really, the county has 8.4 million that of something that we have to, in case something comes up in
Right.
each one of theirs, or just a general amount of money.
And you really need it for cash flow purposes because property taxes don't come in till late December,
Yep.
first week of January, but you have ongoing expenses starting July 1. So having that money in the bank really helps from the cash flow.
There's not many counties that got that type of money as far as a percentage in the bank.
We're very fortunate.
Yes, we are, and that comes from good management. So thank you.
And I've only been here a little while. There's been some good management for many years, and
Yes.
we'll see some trends in a little bit. But, you know, there's been a lot of work to build this. You don't build this overnight.
Yeah.
The second sheet is the page I go to in any audit if I'm looking at another county or a municipality to see how they perform versus us. And this is the one page that the county commissioners can go to and look at your budget as you originally adopted it in the budget ordinance, and then the final budget as it may have been amended, because over the years, as the months go by, you may decide to take on a new program or donate something to a charitable organization. So we have the revised budget, and then we have the actual budget. Well, when the budget was adopted, that would have been July 1 of 2024, the board used $492,000 of fund balance, which I believe most of it was for capital outlay. Throughout the year, there were a few budget amendments that increased that fund balance appropriated, went to $711,000, but at the close of the year, there was no need to use it. That shows up as a variance of money unused, and when you look at the net change in fund balance, the county actually added $554,000. But when that's appropriated, the board has given authority to spend it, and we try our best not to. So we had $711,000 that could have been spent, but we still put back another $5. That's a $1.2 million swing. So I think that's how the board builds fund balance.
Yeah.
And it truly is a team effort. The next page is a worksheet that the Local Government Commission provides. And in November, we had seen a draft audit, November of 25, and commissioners had asked, what's our percentage of fund balance? And in November of 25, we were showing expenditures of $15.8 million and a 39.12% fund balance. You turn the page to the worksheet we have for January. We insert this in the audit. This is a page in the audit. A notable change was that the expenditures for the general fund increased to $16.478 million. That delta is $613,000 that was added to our expenditures as an audit adjustment. That was not extra money that we spent or that William let anybody spend. I mean, that was an adjustment by the auditors. And with increasing that expenditure and then running the calculation, our percent of fund balance dropped 2% to 37%. The next page, which I show has a number 22, is your tracking of your fund balance going back to FY 11-12. You can see, and again, this is you had two revals in the middle, you had COVID in the middle, but steady over time, the county has worked to increase that fund balance, protect your unassigned fund balance, that's the column in the middle, and then most importantly, you can find the cash. And you've seen Mr. Robertson's sheet that he does on a green piece of paper that gives you that cash with the investments, the money in the North Carolina cash management versus Southern Bank. The next page is the tracking for your utilities enterprise, water and sewer fund. And this chart comes from the section called Management Discussion and Analysis. That's the part that your staff put together. only thing that got changed on this, the auditors insisted that we use the term net position instead of fund balance. Over my experience, I've been beat up by a lot of county commissioners who want to know, what is our fund balance in the water and sewer fund? Well, there used to be a staff member at the LGC named Sharon Edmondson who had a calculation that she once gave to Mr. Robertson. It's simply, you take your total current assets minus your total current liabilities. That's how you calculate your fund balance. So we did that going back, and for the year that just closed, it's just over $3 million. The school capital reserve was initiated with the financing for the Central Middle School, and prior to that, we did not have a school capital reserve, but it too has grown. Next page is our proprietary funds, landfill and water fund. I'm going to jump to the next page, which is a statement of revenues down toward the bottom. Landfill fund net position is a negative $112,000. And I think I mentioned this a couple of months ago. During the budget, we may have to talk about the potential of raising the household fee that is assessed to the residents of the county, or cutting costs, like limiting days of operation. And you know, that's a tough nut to crack. But it's one that we need to be cognizant of, because there's not an ever growing available pool of money.
The running joke, though, is people don't know when it's open. The one day it's closed now.
Well, the snow has really created some, we've got to get through this weather.
You know, right?
But in light of the discussion we had about the auditor's presentation and that negative $909,000 in the water fund, if you look at that water column, it's the middle one, our change in net position went up $194,000. The money that, for whatever reason, the formula from the LGC doesn't let us pick up is that $1,027,330. We don't spend money that we don't have. It's just, for some reason, the accounting system forces us to present it that way. But the money is here, and I know William would want you to know that. We got another one in there, please?
One more.
Okay, this is one I want to make sure Ray Campbell's paying attention, because the sheriff knows that when we do budget amendments in the last couple of years, we've reported when the sheriff wanted to move a little bit of money to buy a piece of equipment or whatever it was, we went back and recorded for the board the amount of money that the office of the sheriff put back in the general fund at the close of the fiscal year. He does not race to spend his money all the way up to June 30. And that page there, you won't find it in the audit, because that was a draft from November, but on that page, it shows that the sheriff put back $240,000. And that's on par with the trend he's been having for at least a half dozen years, maybe more. I haven't gone back that far.
Yep.
Well, GASB 87 came in for these vehicles. And again, our fleet management program is not just Sheriff Campbell's. He's got the largest number of cars. I think it's 10. But we've got cars in the maintenance department. The community center has a truck. Animal control has a truck. And all of the general fund vehicles that are in the leasing program, to meet this GASB standard, were aggregated and put into the sheriff's budget for expenditures. So when you flip the page, please, and you look at that same line, it looks like the sheriff overspent his budget $370,000. That's the equivalent of 3 cents on the tax rate. And folks, that's not true. That is an accounting mandated misrepresentation. The money that the sheriff's office pays for his lease every year is budgeted in his operating budget. This is something they're struggling with, I think, with the auditors and how to make it practical for local governments, but I wouldn't want anybody to think that we would not have allowed a year to finish with a negative number. I mean, we go through all kinds of reviews to make sure that all of our departments finish at least with a break even. But I think 911, the year we merged, we ran in the whole $1,300.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, if I need to put together a letter and have it signed by every commissioner so the sheriff can keep it in his file, because that's the number you're going to see. When you go to the local government commission website, you're going to see that the office of the sheriff in Gates County overspent its budget by $370,000. And I don't know how he feels, but if that was me, I'd be really upset. And thank goodness there's nobody challenging him this year, because you could make a lot of hay with that. But nonetheless, Sheriff, we got your back. We got another page. I happened to get an email from our regional health services from Ashley Stewart, and she sends a copy of the auditor's presentation for our regional health department. And I'd just like you to see what another auditor presented with a budget. It's just, because every auditor is just a little bit different. So if we could just flip through the narrative of the letters, you can keep going. I want to get to the numbers. And he hit all the elements of compliance. Next row, yes.
Actually,
Imagine that, numbers.
Yeah, we got numbers on this. How about that?
Again, I'm maybe getting too old for this business, but board members need to see numbers. And if the numbers are frightening, the board needs to be scared. The board needs to take corrective action, but we can't be afraid to put our numbers out there. And this is just a change in the times.
Last year's audit had numbers on it, right?
No, they look just like.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was like-
No, the PowerPoint is what I'm referring to.
Maybe that's what I was saying.
Yeah, when you get the book's going to have
Book's gonna have the numbers.
numbers.
No, that's
Yeah,
what
you're
I'm
thinking
thinking
about the book.
But when you are receiving your financial reports for the year ended in the fiscal year, you ought to have something to look at, to let you know. I don't mean to pick on Mr. Attorney over there. But he is Sherman County, inside the city limits of a town which I won't mention. There was a big article Layton's not here tonight, is he? It was reported that, again, this is terrible, I should, their general fund balance was a negative $320,000. And again, if we'd have that, you've got to show that. If you've got a number you got to deal with, you got to do it. So if you could give me another page. Trends are important. They try to show the total fund balance, the unrestricted fund balance. That's why we show all those. I don't have the pretty graphs yet. I'll be looking. One year, William did pie charts because the commissioners wanted pie charts. Well, we may have to put some graphs in next year. But just take them up and cut it, please.
I'm a line graph and bar graph guy.
Well,
so you know.
I
agree.
think if your trends are going in the wrong direction, you all need to be able to see it, put it up publicly, y'all talk about it, and if your numbers are going in the correct direction, you need to acknowledge it and celebrate it. But it's just unusual and a bit disturbing for me to see y'all get a PowerPoint with no numbers. And I mean, that's just Scott Sauer's opinion. We want to make sure you have the numbers, you know how we're doing. There's no question that's too tough or too crazy. I mean, if you got a question, ask. If I can't think of, William will dig out the number for you. I just want y'all to know you're in good shape. At least you were July 1. Crazy, because again, that's just a point in time. Really, you've got a tremendous system. That's all I got.
As far as our accountant that we use for the auditing firm and all that kind of good stuff, there's not many firms that do governmental accounting, right?
Well, it's getting so complicated.
Yes.
And counties are much different than a municipality because you've got a lot of federal money coming in through social services. You've got school finance, all of those lottery fund grants, those come through our books. We can't control it, but we've got to account for it. And it's just it's getting worse and worse in terms of and I guess William and I have been through 3 audits together here in Gates County now, and this was the best one, and we had the best communication, and I'm grateful for that. But we've always got to work on continuous improvement. Changing auditors is not an easy task, and you might find yourself worse than where you are. I mean.
Should we maybe set some expectations for them and say, hey, we would like to have something like this in our audit report?
I think with the board's support, I'd be happy to do that. I just don't want to go out just trying to be cowboy. But
No.
I mean, I just think you all should expect a little bit deeper dive into your finances when you're getting your audit presentation.
Given our number one role as commissioners is budget and fiscal responsibility, a little more would be nice.
Yeah. It would.
To me, it's simple enough to just ask them let us see audits they've done for other towns, pick the ones we like, the graphics, that's easy enough. They're bound to have done them. And just say, we'd like something more like this.
Examples from others.
Versus trying to describe a lot. Spending a lot of time and extra money to develop stuff and give us a bunch of choices. It'd be easier to say, give us these couple things, these graphics that are used in these other locations you do, because they're bragging about having 750 customers. Pick out the top 5 that have graphic presentations and let us see them.
Yep.
And those are public documents, so they shouldn't have any problem sharing them. We'll spend a lot of time and effort, or just pay them a lot of time and effort to develop them.
Yep.
I do have one question. I love this information, love the whole discussion of fund balance. I know I'm the guy that was poking so hard about fund balance in the past. The one thing, page 22 and 23, where it shows that progression of the balances for both the enterprise and the general fund. The page 22, if you actually had what the annual budget along with there was, that would be more helpful, because from 2011 to 2025, I know our county budget has got to have gone up. It'd be nice to see proportionally how much the fund balance is growing compared to just a plain fund balance. Because it looks like for the general fund, it's more than double the fund balance in total cash. But for the revenue enterprise has only gone up by like 50%. So that'd just be nice to see. Just no crisis.
Yeah, we can continue.
Not a rush
work
or
on
anything.
that stuff.
Yeah. But good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you, sir.
But a big thanks to the guy in the second pew there.
Yes.
He makes it all happen.
Yeah.
Thank you, William.
Yes.
It's a whole lot of time it takes to put all this together.
He doesn't let me steer very often.
No.
All right.
It's almost time to start the next one.
Going to move into commissioner comments then. Was that the close of yours, Mr. Sauer?
No,
Just make
that's
sure.
all.
Okay. Start down here. Work my way down. How's that go?
You got anything you want to say?
No, I'm good, I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
I don't have a lot of comments. Thank you for the team, William, Scott. I mean, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into this, and the numbers add up. I mean, you can't ask me anything better than that. The numbers add up. Our fund balance is growing. We've got to have operating funds, operating cash. So it's not we have $8 million in the bank just sitting there. We use those funds.
Operating capital.
But we put those funds back. It's a cash flow. So thank you, is all I can say. Good audit.
Well, turn down here.
I'd like to start by saying during this big cold spell we had, I'd had surgery before Christmas. For some reason, I had a stretch where I was so freaking cold natured, you couldn't believe it. And I was very sympathetic, and I appreciate what our emergency staff did, all the staff, and working towards being prepped for the emergency stuff. the warming center, making sure you got word out, being prepared to go and get people that maybe didn't have transportation or power was out, trying to look out for those folks. That was pretty awesome. And quite honestly, having nothing to do with, but just seeing it happen and seeing the post that our clerk was posting, I was like, wow, this is really good. I feel good about the transparency. I brag where I work, the county I work in, about they should look at our Facebook page and all now, how good it is and how the information is being shared. So I'm really proud of what y'all did, and I'm thankful for it. I know a lot of the community is. And again, somebody might say, well, we didn't even have to use it. No, it's you get prepared for what you might have to do, not what actually happens. If you wait till it happens, it's too late. So good on y'all. Good job. Switching over real quickly, want to talk about the Albemarle Commission. You know, last month, did a couple votes. People may have heard about it. Typically, the board of delegates, who Brian Silver sits on it with us from our county, passed a resolution opposing a 40% increase in insurance on residences that affects maybe some more of the folks in the eastern part of the district, but that was a good thing to ask them to not just jump in and approve a 40% increase. And then additionally, you may not be aware, it's not as big an issue for Gates County, but these solar farms that have popped up everywhere, those guys are getting big tax breaks. And our board leadership for the Albemarle Commission came forward and showed that several of the counties were losing as much as $1.5 million in tax revenue. So the board voted and asked the state to, even if you can't do it instantly, try and gradually rein that in to where these certain counties aren't losing massive amounts of tax revenue after years with no apparent good justification. And even if you don't take it, all the tax break away, take some of it back to allow the counties that have these to do that. That was a good thing. The other thing that came up is Gates County, there's the way their housing repair, urgent repair program works for folks that are more financially destitute. That's opened up, and Gates County is next in the rotation of the various counties. 2 or 3 counties are done town. So Gates County is open right now, so people can reach out to Albemarle Commission, people that are financially not necessarily able to do some pretty urgent repairs that are needed. They can reach out and do that now. Go straight to the Albemarle Commission. They're very willing to help, standing by. And I don't think we're taking as much advantage of it in Gates County as we should. I think only us and maybe Hyde County are not really reaching out to them as much as we could. So I'd encourage folks to do that. And then the last thing is they were also subject recently to a ransomware attack. And you know, the commission doesn't have as big a budget as this county, but suddenly they were locked down. They were safe and prepped for it, or their RT guys are prepped for it if it happens to them, but they were able to recover 95% of the information pretty quickly. We usually would have a meeting tomorrow night immediately after our commissioners meeting. That's been put aside for them to be able to handle it. But again, they're in really solid shape financially, audit-wise, did a perfect thing and everything. But just to report back to the board, that's kind of what's going on for us on the Albemarle Commission.
You know, that urgent house repair, we might need to post that on the Facebook page.
Oh, sure, I can share that with Renee.
Yeah.
They're very good. They got good flyers and everything. And they've tried. I posted 1 or 2. It's been a little while in anticipation of it coming, but now it's open. I think they actually started taking applications in January.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Is that it? Okay.
Actually, today has been a very busy day for me. This morning, I had my Albemarle Regional Transit meeting, and we talked about the 158 expansion, that widening that they're doing through the swamp there, and also too the projects for the pedestrian projects and everything that we have submitted that made it through the first round. So they were part of one of 19 projects that has made it through. So that was reported back today as well with the team. So looks like hopefully we'll be able to get some funding from that as well. So we're always trying to look for additional revenues from all different places, so that way we can do what we need to do here within the county and support our residents. So had that meeting today. Then we had our utilities department update today as well. So that is all heading in the right direction, and we gone out and put public notice out for bids on the first of our projects for the water systems. So which would include the 2 large directional bores that are going underneath the Bennett's Creek, and it's one other creek we were going underneath of, but anyways, it's 2 of them that we're doing.
Carter's Creek.
Yeah, Carter's Creek. So that's moving in the right direction. The new 12-inch main that's going to be ran down through, connecting Gatesville into it, as well as the sawmill and several other pipeline projects that we're going to be working on to better supply water to the county, better pressures, so that way we can work through that. The water tower design is pretty much completed, is what they said, and so they're going to tear down the old tower here in Gatesville and build a new tower replacing that one. So hopefully, once that gets up, it's really going to change the hydraulic pressures that we have within the county, and especially once that line that gets tied together underneath Bennett's Creek, that's going to make a huge difference in our water pressures on the southern side of Gates County. So that's going to be a big deal. It's going to help us as far as some of our fire flows at the fire hydrants and everything, and it's going to help with your insurance costs to hopefully bring our insurance costs down for our houses and all that kind of good stuff. So it's all headed in the right direction as far as the water department goes, and some of these major projects that we have coming down the pike and working through those designs. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we see contractors here in the county working come summertime. So that's where we are with that.
I mentioned the pallet test. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. And so we also discussed the pallet test for the fluoride. So we were fortunate enough through the cycle of this machine moving all around the eastern United States. So it happened to be in Chowan County. So we took advantage of that with it being so close, and they put in a reverse osmosis, a small reverse osmosis system in the water plant. And so we're filtering that through, doing some studies as far as what type of filtering system we really need to have as a county to help remove some of this fluoride out of the system. Now, of course, the reverse osmosis system is going to remove it all, and everything will come out, and we will have to blend the water. And there's two other test systems that they want to bring in, hook it up to the water system to see how much fluoride that system takes out, so that way we can work towards deciding what really needs to be done within our water system to remove the fluoride, and the most economical way to do it as well. So the goal for the county is to get the water fluoride levels down to a 0.7 parts per million. So we're reverse osmosis takes it all out. So, but there's other filtering systems that can get it down to that as well. So we're going to do that, and that's all part of the requirements that we have to do to meet the state requirements as far as understanding what we need to do on the designs with that. So that's where that's at. The repairs for well 2A. So right now, well 2A is not producing nowhere near as much water as we had. They had a catastrophic failure for that. And so we were donated the land just behind it, so that way we can put that new well in. So we're working through that, but that was one of the motions that we moved to the consent agenda, is the money that's going to be needed to design the well, as well as some reclassifications of funds to pay for a new well to be put down. So we're working in that direction pretty quickly, so we can get that moving as well. So that we a whole lot of things that we're going through in Gates County and working, and Mr. Sauer and his team's pretty busy. So
We did learn a fun fact about the Chowan River.
Oh yeah, we did.
I read it now.
Their fluoride levels in the Chowan River is 0.5 parts per million, so they're doing all right if we ever run out of water. You just gotta filter it a little bit.
We knew you would like that, Dave.
I thought
Don't
it
drink
was,
the water from the
I did think it was a very interesting fact that it was that in the road.
Yeah.
I would not have thought that, but I'm not a water guy.
Is that all right? Before I start?
It's on you if somebody goes and drinks water out of
I
chicken.
just do not go drink water, like. All right, attorney, one hand. Okay, so to just to highlight some things from the past month, I know I participated, I'm not sure how many of the others did, but NCACC just completed a webinar series on just information, legal information, processes and stuff for school boards, school funding, and the relationships between the two boards. Given the conversations that we've been having for the past year plus, really few years, but significantly for the past year, I thought that those were incredibly timely and very helpful, just recognizing the differences between how the county operates and how Board of Educations operate. It's given me the opportunity to have a little grace in some areas. So the strategic planning team here in the county is moving forward with participation. We have several community members that are being invited in from all spectrums at our next meeting, and then very soon we're going to have information going out for community input, surveys and stuff. That'll be paper survey options. There will be QR code, website kind of things. We're looking to get as much feedback as we can. Again, we're trying to interact with our citizens as much as possible, get as much feedback from there. There's going to be questions from things that you want to see, things that you don't want to see change, things that you do want to see change. We had a roundtable conversation with COA looking to bring some opportunities to Gates County. One of the questions on that survey is going to be tied to that, just looking at different opportunities for learning that you would like to have hosted here in the county to make it more accessible for you. Just an idea of what you might see. We had our budget kickoff. NCACC, which is the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, facilitated a morning team building with the commissioners and a county manager, assistant county manager, finance, different ones come in. And then we had an afternoon roundtable with department heads. That's how we kicked off our budget season last year. I thought it went really well. Brought us all in one accord. We were able to talk about big projects so that we knew what the asks were going to be before we went into actual budget season. So we started the season off with that again, which means we are moving into budget workshops and such over the next couple of months. All of those are open to the public. They will be advertised. Those workshops are typically during the day. The reason is that's when the staff is here. We work with that with their time. We have to be honorable of their time as well. But they will all be posted for public review later if you're unable to make the meetings. And then just a reminder, it's coming up. We have, again, the primary election. The early voting is happening now. Election date is March 3rd. Tomorrow night, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting a Board of Education candidate forum here at 7 p.m. It is going to be live streamed on the Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. Just want to put that out there because it has been put out there that it will be live streamed, but it will not be found on the Commissioner's YouTube. It will be on the Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. But that's tomorrow night at 7, and there will be a time following the forum for a meet and greet with the candidates if you wanted to speak with them one-on-one. And then again, Tuesday night at the Performing Arts Center at the high school, we have the town hall on the Article 46 tax referendum. And then just to kind of reiterate, we are having constant ongoing conversations with our legislators, talking to Congressman Davis, Senator Hanig, Representative Ward, heard today from Senator Bud's office, and we're actively seeking things for improvements with the water system still. We have a lot of funding that came in, which is how we're doing these projects, but there's still a lot more work to be done. We're seeking more emergent needs, ambulances, updating those kind of things. So those conversations are happening. Sometimes they're not always visible until we have a little more movement, and the government was designed to work slow. So some of these updates seem to take a little while. But other than that, I think that is all I have. And we will move into the last public comment period at 3 minutes per speaker for any topics not on the agenda earlier. Do we have anyone?
Yes, we do. Kelly Turner.
Ms. Turner, who was just put on the Animal Advisory Committee. All right, if you just state your name and voting district also.
My name is Kelly Turner. I am in Gates. I just want to say wow for the water project. It's super exciting. Looking forward to learning more about that and seeing as it moves forward. I feel like it happened fast, knock on wood. I don't think it moved slow enough. I felt like that happened fast, so that's super exciting, and that we got extra funding for it is awesome also. I just want to say thank you for voting me onto the board for Animal Advisory. I look forward to working with 9 people from the county to see what's best for our animals, and that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, well, if we have no other business to discuss, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So seconded.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, but
You can come.
Yeah,
I
you
will
come
say,
up
if
and
we
we'll
can
talk.
withdraw the motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay, yeah, if you need to come up, you can, absolutely. So you'll have 3 minutes on the clock to state your name and voting district, and then after you speak, if you could just put your name on the paper for recording purposes. Thank you.
My name is James Patty, I'm from Gates. The main thing I wanted to come up here and talk to everyone about was hunting season and the previous hunting season for 2025, 2026. It was a big conversation on the Gates County pages on Facebook. Everyone knew that we were going to be here tonight if they wanted to talk about it. We need more accountability for the hunters that are out there. We need people that are respectful and understand that everybody doesn't like certain styles of hunting, mainly running dogs. I myself, I'm a steel hunter. I tagged out this year, but I only shot 1 deer in Gates County. I had to go to another county to hunt peacefully because of dogs. And that's not fair to me that I live in this county and can't hunt here. I've actually had videos and pictures of dogs on my property where my stand is at, and the backlash I got was put a fence up. You're supposed to control your dog on other people's property, and you're not even supposed to be on my property. I think that there needs to be a conversation. It doesn't have to be decided today, but there needs to be a conversation with the people in the county about coming up with a compromise. Let the steel hunters hunt first, and then let the dog hunters hunt second. Maybe from November 15th to January 1st. That'll be your period for dog hunting in Gates County. All right? Let the steel hunters go and do what they do first. You both get part of the rut, you both get your time. But at the same time, those dog hunters need to be respectful, not parking on the roads, not walking on people's property, not telling other people that they need to put their animals up because their dogs are running free. North Carolina State has a Senate bill that's out right now. If that Senate bill passes, no dog hunters will be allowed to hunt anything under 100,000 acres. That's the state. So I would like it to where we compromise in the county. Let them have their dog running days, let us have our steel hunting days. So they're not clashing. Now, if I do decide to go out and hunt during dog running days, I can't complain. Because I was allotted my time. If I didn't use it properly, that's on me. But that's all I have. And I would like to try and have another talk about it. Bring some people in from the dog hunting side to have their view too. Though it's not one-sided. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, so now I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So seconded.
All in favor? All right, we are adjourned.
There's something appreciative about this, knowing that families, helping people out there, living off I'm still good.
Did you pick up the folder that had the architectural things?
Yes. It's right here.
Okay, we've got 11 of them, and
These right here?
yeah.
And that's what I assume that, that's what those are all
Here's a, yeah, here's a copy of the feasibility study, because you may want to